Hi guys, I'm inspired to do another live. I didn't plan this live, so hopefully this message comes across in the way that I'm intending it to. But I just really wanted to talk about how everybody gets judged for their grief. I feel like it's just human nature for others to compare, contrast, judge, especially if the other person is also grieving. And so I just want to talk a little bit about how we shouldn't be selling our grief to others, and we shouldn't be selling it to ourselves. And what I mean by sell is I mean justification, or instead of justification, the opposite of that might be suppressing or making it seem less than so that it feels easier to manage. But in those cases, when we suppress our grief, it actually pushes the feelings down and doesn't give them the space that they should have. And when we honor our feelings and we don't suppress them, then we're better able to face these feelings and work through them quicker. So I just wanted to talk about a little bit of my grief journey. I've had two main losses in my life, and I tried to justify or sell my grief for both of these in two different ways, and neither of them were good. And so now I'm kind of at the point where I lost a friend this week, and I've decided that I'm no longer willing to sell my grief. So I'm going to talk about all three of these losses really quick. So I lost a friend in a motorcycle accident when I was 21, and I tried to sell my grief in the kind of way where you unjustify your feelings. So I would say I wasn't that close to him, or I would say I shouldn't feel this grief because I didn't hang out with him as much as other people did. And in that way, when I did that and I sold that grief to other people, the people weren't there for me. People didn't show up to help me honor my feelings and face those feelings and work through them. And so in that situation, I did a disservice to myself, and I was trying to lessen the grief pain by saying, oh, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as others. Other people have it worse than I do. And it just was very unhealthy. And because I did that, I didn't actually work through those feelings until recently. And so I suppressed them for a really long time, and that's not healthy. So that was my first attempt at selling my grief. My second attempt at selling my grief was with my mom. I tried to say, oh, but my mom and I were so close, or, oh, but I used to talk to my mom on the phone all the time, or, oh, like, it was my mom, so of course I should be grieving. And in these situations, people didn't support me in the right way, and I still got judged. So I got judged when I downplayed my feelings. I got judged when I tried to fight for my feelings. So I really just felt like I don't need to justify and sell my grief feelings to anyone. And so with the loss that I'm experiencing this week, I'm not selling my grief to anyone. You know, if people ask me how I'm feeling, I'm not going to talk about my relationship with the person. I'm not going to try to say, fight for, I was so close to this person, or minimize it by saying, I only saw this person once a week. And so I've just really gotten to a point where, like, I don't need to sell my grief to anyone. Those feelings are for me. My relationship with that person is what I know it in my heart, and I don't need to justify it or minimize it in any way. And so if you're dealing with grief shame, or if you're feeling that people don't understand your grief feelings, don't feel like you have to sell it to anyone. And so going forward, I'm going to be careful about my language when I talk about my grief feelings, and I'm going to talk about how I feel, and I'm going to leave out the details of the relationship with a person. I'm going to leave out I guess just the details of the relationship in person. And so really it's not about what we did, how we knew them, how often we were in contact with them. None of those things matter. And so really I want to encourage you all to be careful of your language as well. Don't feel the need to justify, whoa, this wind is crazy. Sorry guys. But don't feel the need to justify or minimize anything. If you are feeling grief, your grief feelings are valid. Honor them, give them space, and just know that other people feel exactly how you're feeling, no matter what your relationship with that person was. This wind is crazy, guys. No matter what your relationship with that person was, your feelings are valid, and you have the right to feel your grief, and you have the right to grieve in any way which feels good for you. You don't need approval from anybody. You don't need to hide it. You don't need to suppress what you're truly feeling just because you feel others have a different perspective. We all look at this world through our own lens, and our lens is how we process our emotions, and you should have whatever lens you have, that's the lens you have to process, and you shouldn't have to justify or minimize that. So if you guys have felt grief shamed, if you guys have felt the justifications or the minimizations of grief feelings, I would love to hear more about them. And this is a safe space where we can open up and talk about how we really feel without the needing to talk about why we feel this way. The why is irrelevant. How we feel is what's the most important. So I hope you guys all have a great Saturday, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Bye.